You're watching the Big 12 on ESPN. Welcome inside the Maverick Center just outside Salt Lake City, Utah, as we get the Big 12 Gymnastics Championship going. It's the first of two sessions here inside this beautiful arena, new venue, and we are very excited to be here along with you. She is national champion Kennedy Baker. I'm Alex Perlman. So glad you could join us. And Kennedy, this is really exciting. 7 teams, brand new environment, 2 sessions. This should be a great day of gymnastics.
Yeah, Alex, correct. This is a high stakes performance, not just because of the competition, but they want to solidify their spots in the regional competition later this year.
There is no question. We are going to crown a championship all throughout the day. The highest scores from both sessions is the one that ends up winning, with 7 teams competing. We have 3 here this afternoon, and then tonight, 7 Eastern time on ESPNU, the top 4 seeds in the evening: Utah, Denver, Arizona, and Arizona State. Let's meet the 3 teams competing here in the afternoon session, and it starts with the BYU Cougars, who have already cemented a spot in the NCAA regionals. But what they want to do is they want to potentially avoid the play-in round. How do they do that? They score a 196.7 in Kennedy. That's just below their season high this year. They're capable.
Absolutely capable of that, Alex. And this is intense. The play-in is not the wanted meet you want going into that regional competition. It's a long competition. If they could get to that regional semifinals, that would go a long way for BYU.
For West Virginia, it's been a renaissance season under Jason Butts. They went from finishing 51st last year to potentially making the NCAA tournament field. They need a 195.575 to solidify that, and that is something that they can definitely do.
This team could get it done. They're special. This is a Cinderella-like season for them. They've really elevated in the second half of the season. I know they want to solidify that spot and feel confident going through the rest of the season.
Well, the Iowa State Cyclones, unfortunately, have been eliminated from the NCAA regional field, but head coach Ashley Miles-Greig, in her second year in Ames, said that they are going to treat this as their postseason, and they are going to try to compete freely here this afternoon. The numbers 30 through 37 in the national rankings, that's where we find all 3 of these competitors: BYU, West Virginia, and Iowa State. We are so excited to get this Big 12 Gymnastics Championship underway. The postseason is here, and it starts in Utah in the Big 12. We'll meet the 3rd member of our broadcast crew, Lauren Sisler, when we come back and start the meet next. Welcome back here to the Big 12 Gymnastics Championship inside the Maverick Center. Let's meet the 3rd member of our broadcast crew, Lauren Sisler. Hey there, Lauren.
What's going on, Alex and Kennedy? Way to tee us up. You know, the energy is getting real in here. Session 1 of the day. All the girls are excited to be here. And look, it's one common goal for all these teams, right? It's hit 24 for 24. But each of the teams have had different seasons, and so the stakes do look a little bit different for each team. And we'll start with BYU. Talking to Guard Young before this competition, you know, he said, this is where we can really increase our stock as we go into the postseason, where we can really make a difference. And we want to just play loose. We want to be relaxed, lean into the veteran leadership that has carried them this season. And they're also adding in a couple routines that we're going to see that they think can really help them in the postseason to really ramp up their scores. Okay, and then over at West Virginia, it's really been a Cinderella season, as Kennedy mentioned there. There were doubts that West Virginia could find themselves in contention for the postseason. But Coach Jason Butts said his girls are ready to rock and roll. The energy today is real. They're ready to have some fun. And lastly, for Ohio State, after putting up a season high Iowa State last week, and the Cyclones were hopeful for a strong performance today to push them into a regional bid. It didn't happen, but Coach Ashley Miles-Greig said, look, we're not focused on that. We didn't even talk to the team about that. We have a lot that we can do in here. A lot of good gymnastics can be had, and we can be rewarded for it and really close out the postseason on a high note. Alex?
Thank you, Lauren. So 3 teams competing. BYU starts on vault, West Virginia on bars, Iowa State on beam, which means in this tri-meet format, there is going to be one apparatus that will remain empty, and it starts with floor. So BYU, being the highest ranked team here in the afternoon session, starts on vault, and here's Sophie Dudley.
Now they have all 6 9.95 start value vaults. A little bit of a disadvantage Coach Guard Young really wants to nail these landings. He knows it's important because they don't have those 10.0 start values in their lineup.
Dudley will compete on 3 events. She just tied her career high with a 9.85 on vault last week. West Virginia on bars will have Brooke Albin, and for Iowa State as they begin their day, Josie Bergstrom to slaw the senior all-arounder. Here is Brooke Albin to start things off for West Virginia. Albin, the senior, consistently has competed in 3 events this year. Last time out, she missed a handstand for the first time this year, but according to head coach Jason Butts, doing the best gymnastics of her career now.
He puts her out there specifically, Alex. She has this seniority, this leadership that gets the energy and momentum going for her team. Great job on her opening release move there, just a slight leg separation. There are 4 judges at this competition. They're from the side, so they can't necessarily see all the same deductions that we can, but there's more eyeballs, tighter scoring.
4 judges, which means the top score given and the bottom score given are thrown out. You average the middle 2 in order to get scores. Now, what that's supposed to do is create a little more consistency. If one judge sees something a different way, the other doesn't, that can kind of rectify itself through the 4-judge format. Melissa Earl, the senior from St. George, Utah, getting ready to go here as Sophie Dudley's score awaits for BYU to lead off on vault. The best spot for the scores as they come in is the score tower on the right side. You can see every score as it comes in. It was a 9.725 for Sophie Dudley to kick things off. And BYU will send up the senior Melissa Earl. We'll see her anchor bars, but she is also in this vault lineup as well, following up Dudley.
And head coach Guard Young gets it started with these seniors in the beginning of the lineup. He has that trust and confidence. They can find the landings. I saw her do some really good vaults in the warm-up. Really good effort. She nailed one in the warm-up. Small hop. That should be half a tenth to a tenth. Really great job to try and spot that landing for Melissa. This is a difficult vault. It's forward facing. That means you can't see your feet coming down to the ground. You've got to feel and have that air awareness while you're flipping.
And so we'll go back to bars now here for West Virginia. Following up Brooke Albin is Anna Lee. Lee, the senior, competing in 3 events. We'll see her on bars, beam, as well as the anchor on floor, where she was an all Big 12 selection. The only all-conference selection for West Virginia. Iowa State started things off with Bergstrom Teslaw's 9.8. And so now for West Virginia, as they look for a potential Big 12 crown. This is the event that they have struggled with the most, though. 46th in the country on bars. Their NQS national qualifying score, how that they rank these teams, is just a 48.804. You really obviously like that to be a lot higher, but they come in today with the opportunity to surprise a lot of people. Their season high 196.275. They're gonna have to do a lot better than that, obviously, to win a conference championship. But nobody's counting out West Virginia, especially when it comes to the regionals next week, potentially, avoiding that play-in round if they're able to maybe put up a big score. We know that they are going to be in there with a solid score as well. So they have a lot to compete for here this afternoon.
They do, and this is a special team. It's nice to see them really get that build up, especially at this end of the season. They've found their rhythm and their groove. Each person is trying to fill the next person up. That's what head coach Jason Butts told us on our coach interviews this week. And this is kind of tricky. Anna Lee's been waiting for a long time to go. It makes it harder. The longer you wait, the colder your body feels when you do gymnastics. You want to feel as warm as possible, have those muscles really loose and ready to go. She's had a little bit of struggles on this event. Struggled a couple weeks ago on that packed salto, missed her hand on a release on the way down to the low bar. Beautiful job on that Jaeger. Really nice form there. And that's where she had that mistake a couple weeks ago. Much better effort, just a little loose in the form, but great job getting to that bar and holding those hands there steady. Big double layout. You saw her try to find her feet to the ground. A small shuffle backwards. Really great start. They're building off of each routine, getting it going for WVU.
Take a look at Noelle Adams getting things ready. The sophomore last year had a historic freshman season for Iowa State. 3-time Big 12 Newcomer of the Week, though she was one up this year by Haley Harden, who won it 4 times in the unanimous selection to Big 12 all-freshman team, and we will see her coming up a little bit later, especially on floor. But Adams is a gymnast that really lights up the room and is such a huge part of the Cyclones' future going forward.
Yeah, Noelle is incredible. She has really dynamic gymnastics, big gymnastics. You're going to see her get this height and amplitude in the air that other girls just don't get because she's so explosive.
On the right side of your screen, Maya Kirkham for BYU.
A lot of power on that Yurchenko full. I saw in her warm-up she was really bouncing back. BYU has to find those landings if they want to get that higher score for the regional competition. Really need to start seeing they plant their feet and getting the sticks on these vaults.
Yeah, looking for something 9.8 or higher on vault. So far, we've seen a 9.775 and a 9.725. Now we're just waiting on a score on beam now for Iowa State for Lauren Obrochta. Already Bertram Tislaw's 9.8 is the only one that has been recorded. West Virginia started with a 9.7 from Brooke Albin, and it has been, as this 9.75 does come in, okay, for Lauren Obrochta.
And this is tricky, Alex.
I would say a little delayed with the scoring right now.
I was going to say, it's similar to Anna Lee. She's waiting there. It's hard, especially on beam, to just sit and kind of not do anything. Your body gets cold. It's the hardest event. It's only 4 inches wide, no wider than an iPhone. Have to go through your mental routine and trust your mental prep.
And Adams is still waiting to go. And Kennedy, what is it like, though, to participate in this type of neutral setting? You're on podium. That makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
It does. The podium is super important. It doesn't seem that impactful, but when you're higher up in the air, it makes the equipment slightly bouncier and a little more unsteady. So especially on an event like beam, it's really impactful because the beam doesn't feel as solid to the ground. You've got to hold your landings a little bit longer and start a little bit taller.
Now, the judges are conferencing right now on beam, and that's why Adams has not been able to go. So Anna Lee's score for West Virginia came in the interim, 9.725. So we are still waiting on our first 9.8 for West Virginia and BYU, but a good start for Iowa State, and let's see if Adams can continue it when she does take the beam, hopefully before the start of the second session. Jaden McDonald now on beam, or bars that is, on the right side of your screen for West Virginia.
Huge ray over the bar.
And they're certainly going to want to drop that score now. 6 gymnasts compete every single event. You only keep the 5 highest scores, so you are afforded just 1 mistake. And certainly for the Mountaineers to stay in this and to clinch a spot at regionals, they're going to want to drop this one.
Yeah, Alex, this is big for the rest of the lineup. They need hits throughout. Didn't really get her dowel all the way over the bar. That's that part in the grip that you need over the bar to cover. You'll see her hands are a little bit arched back. You want your fingertips all the way on the other side of the bar to catch. And they've struggled with releases a little bit. We talked with head coach Jason Butts. He doesn't want a missed release in the touch. I saw them miss a couple in their touch. Having a hard time finding that bar, especially on the championship stage. Bars is another event that's difficult on that podium. Brighter lights all around, harder to spot when you're doing those high fly releases. And again, it's difficult for her because she had to repeat her first skill, really do the bar routine completely over because she had to get credit for that. If she didn't get credit for that, she would have started a couple tenths down. It would have been even bigger in deduction.
And you never know, you might need to count that score. So everything matters.
Wow. And Noelle Adams, this is
a really long wait.
Yeah, that was...
Would you almost I don't know, would you rejoin your team? Is there a different way you could approach it, or is it just kind of up to every gymnast what makes them feel comfortable?
It's up to every gymnast what they feel comfortable with. Some gymnasts would have done stuff on the side. I think Noelle is one of those. She just trusts her mental prep and delivers right there. Impressive to nail that series after that wait time.
There's Deb Silva. What a vault on the right side of your screen.
Their first stick on a Yurchenko full, that 995 start value, that's what they need to get it done, to raise that score up.
Yeah, but she's coming off a career high. She's feeling really good, only a freshman. Watch out for her when it comes to NCAA tournament time.
She has exciting gymnastics, Alex. She can go big and huge amplitude. I love how in the pre-flight you see her legs all the way together. And again, on the stick, her legs are together. No leg separation throughout. Their best vault yet in this lineup. Really impressive job.
And remember, that starts from a 995 value, so a 9925 is just about perfection, what she scored last week. So we will see what the judges want to do with that. I think we're definitely looking at our first 9.8 plus score for BYU on vault, though. All right, Noelle Adams finishing off her beam routine.
And unfortunately had a mistake. Fell off the beam. That's going to be 5/10 in deduction. Really big job from Rachel.
Yeah, but what she dealt with right there, I think we got to give her a lot of credit for putting that hit routine together.
That's important, Alex. I mean, her wait time to stand there and wait. I mean, it's like you kind of start over. Your warm-up is kind of thrown, your touch is kind of thrown. It's like you're doing it over for the first time. At least her teammates on the side can go do the skills down on the floor to help re-warm them back up. She just had to kind of stand there. So she had a really tough job up there.
Well, Noelle's best event is floor, and that's coming up in the next rotation. You don't want to miss her on that. Deb Silva's score on vault was a 9.85 for BYU. Okay, so that definitely was rewarded there on the stick. Lauren Obrachta's score, by the way, for Iowa State before Adams was a 9.825. So this is exactly what the Cyclones wanted to see. And those around the program have been really impressed with the type of gymnastics they have done all season. Unfortunately, it's a subjective sport in Kennedy, not always really getting the benefit of the gymnastics that they have done so far this year.
They've been underscored. I'm gonna say it on air. They have been underscored this season, and that's tough. On your mental, on your confidence, every score that you get that's a good score helps build that confidence every single meet. So when you're getting maybe a little bit robbed, your sticks aren't seeming like they're scoring as high as everybody else's, it's frustrating.
Well, this is where the postseason could really help with the four judges. Maybe a little more consistency there as Rachel Wilk gets ready. Let's send it back down to Lauren.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Coming into this week, we were talking to Coach Ashley Miles-Grieg, and Rachel Wilk, the senior, her body practically taped together. You talked about that, Alex, and she's just been getting after it, just trying her best to stay with it, to stay in it. And she's a high-energy girl. She's really the heart and soul of this team, and really she's one of the best leaders on the team. So she does have one more year of eligibility, and Coach said, look, we would love to get her back, but right now it is still TBD.
Rachel added beam back in 6 meets ago, competes on everything but bars. I mean, it takes her 5 to 6 minutes just to tape those ankles up, and you can see the heavy tape. She's also wearing the brace on her left elbow. I mean, that's competing for love of the game right there.
Yeah, and they even have a little bit of a different training plan for her just because her body has been through so many injuries. They've got to treat it differently to keep her and sustain her throughout the season. But she can put up a really big number here, Alex.
Back to BYU on vault following up Deb Silva. Our first look at Kylie Equinto. Competes on vault, bars, and floor for the second straight year. Had a 9.8 on this event last week. They had a 196.325 in a quad meet at Cal.
Huge Yurchenko full, so much height and distance off of the table. You see she was a little further back than her teammates on that vault. Impressive job from Kylie.
And you really want your scores to build throughout the routine. You can see the grayed out scores are the ones that are currently going to be dropped. And for Iowa State, Noelle Adams with an 8.775. And so Wilk will follow that up.
Opens with a difficult acro series here. Cat leap, front tuck, back tuck. That is difficult to connect. Fought to dig those toes in and stay on the beam. Takes that senior leadership to feel comfortable there and hold on, not pop up. We mentioned earlier on the podium, you've got to hold those landings even longer, bend those knees a little bit longer than you normally would when you're down on the ground doing the events.
Right side of your screen, Amber Lowe for West Virginia. Brooke Irwin's bar score at 9.625, so that is going to have to count. Only 2 to go with Lowe and Trinity Macy, as well as Wilk finishes off her beam routine on their left.
Nice job from Rachel there. Again, difficult to go up after a fall, and she didn't have as long as Noelle, but she had a little bit of a wait time there too. They are really holding the beam people. I'm impressed with how they're settling in and being able to go up and still get their routines out after waiting for so long. And Amber can put up a big routine for West Virginia on bars, but she struggled. I saw her in the warm-up and the touch, especially with those releases. She missed her release in the touch. Head coach Jason Butts, we mentioned earlier, didn't want those releases in the touch miss. You want to catch the bar before you compete, really feel confident and strong before you go.
Amber competes bars, beam, and floor, so we'll see her in the next 3 rotations here for West Virginia. She had a 9.8 on bars last week in their quad meet at Ohio State, where they put up a 195.85 as a team.
Great effort there on her release, but lost it a little bit on that skill down to the low bar. That's called a pack salto. Had to edit her routine actually a little bit. Usually she connects that release straight down to the low bar if she's far enough away. She was close, had to change her middle skill to a pack salto instead of a shoot over. Nice job. A little bit of a struggle in there though.
Hard to do that though, isn't it?
It is hard to change your routine. I didn't even see her warm up the other version of that routine. Maybe she did, but I didn't see it. It's difficult to throw in new skills under pressure at a championship.
Yeah, relying on your experience there. This is Lauren Thomas getting ready to perform her beam routine for Iowa State. A 9.75 just came in for Rachel Wilk. So good scores to start, both 9.8 to begin for Bergstrom, Tesla, and Obrakta for Iowa State. And then they're looking to regain that sort of momentum after the scoring delays, starting with Thomas, the 5th-year performer. 2nd season for her after transferring from Washington.
Really smooth connection there. I like that. That's difficult. Front toss. The judges want to see those arm swings fluid and continuous.
Iowa State's not in a bad spot right now, even if they have to count this 9.75.
No, they're doing a good job. And again, they've been waiting. They've just been standing for most of the beam rotation. Very difficult job, and they're starting on beam. Kind of really settling in. I think that's that loose competition that we've mentioned earlier, feeling a little more relaxed, knowing that this is the last meet really for them of the season. Wrapping up with the dismount here. She ends with a 1.5 twist. Can't see those feet coming into the ground. Finds it.
What
nice job.
That's beautiful.
That was good. That was really nice to see from their team. Really well done from Lauren there.
You know, Kennedy, I want to ask, because it's interesting. Remember, Noelle Adams had to wait so long to go up. And Obrakta's score was a 9.825. A lot of times you see that coming off a fall or misconnections, not off an 9.8 plus score. So I wonder if it was some discrepancy within, you know, the parameters of both judges, whether, you know, it was within range.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's why they were debating so much. And really nice job there on that release from Trinity Macy. She can fly so high on this event. I saw her nail a dismount in the warm-up. Hope she can find this landing here. Slight under rotation, had those feet back. You really want them right under your body if you want to get that stick. Great follow-up, though, from Amber Lowe's mistake. Great way to bounce back and get it back on track for West Virginia.
The problem, though, for the Mountaineers is that with McDonald's fall, Lowe's 9-3-5 counts. So Macy will finish that off with a hit, and we'll see what West Virginia's final bars score comes in as. Iowa State is still in a pretty good spot if they can get a really good routine here from Sgarbossa. Frederic, the Quebec native, as she readies. Just a freshman. She was a member of the Big 12 all-freshman team. Competed for a spot in London with Team Canada on the Elite World as well.
And she is a beautiful beam worker, Alex. She has these lines and presentation that is impressive, and what the judges want to see in these beam routines. She opens with a difficult series, back handspring, step out, swing through, side aerial. Really hard to connect. I thought it was a good connection. We'll see what the judges do. It's hard to keep that leg continuous throughout on that back handspring step out. Beautiful leaps, and those are the lines that we're talking about. You saw that straddle jump was at that 180 mark. Really impressive.
West Virginia's score comes in 9-7-2-5 for Macy, so a 48-1-2-5 is the final score on bars. 48-9 for BYU, now the score to beat.
And Fred is so impressive. She looks so seasoned up there. As a freshman, you could never tell, looking like a veteran already, has a big career ahead of her. Stunning.
Honestly, the Cyclones should be really proud of that rotation they just put up.
I'm really impressed with what they just did. The adversity they faced in season and even here today.
That's right.
They got it rolling and they just picked it up, and I think that speaks to the team culture that Ashley has built there. This was stunning. Look at her leg form throughout. Perfect stick. The chest position is just right. I hope that's a big score for them.
Yeah, that's going to be a really good one. You might be looking at 4 of the 5 counting scores being 9-8 or higher, and if that is the case, then Iowa State is going to have the lead after this first rotation. That was really, really impressive. West Virginia didn't have to count a fall on bars, but they did have to count a low score from Amber Lowe. And then for BYU, they were able to drop a 9-7-2-5. They were consistent, at least, was kind of the big takeaway, I think, for BYU, keeping themselves right in this championship.
Yeah. It was huge for them. I think that they want to find these landings, though. It's really important. It's really important that they nail these landings. They have a big bar rotation ahead of them, really high-flying skills. Can't wait to see what they do there.
Yeah, Alex and Kennedy back with you. And I think, you know, that kind of summarizes it. It was what we were expecting to see. These are 3 really tightly matched teams, and certainly BYU and the West Virginia Mountaineers have a lot to play for in terms of the postseason. And we've seen, you know, both of these teams are coming out and giving it their all.
They are. West Virginia has a little bit more work to do, not exactly the bar rotation they want, but they have a big rotation coming ahead on beam. And of course, BYU looking forward to their bar rotation.
Yeah, but at the end of one rotation, it is kind of Iowa State that has been the really big surprise. A 9-8-7-5 for Fred Sgarbossa, and it is going to be a lead for the number 3 seed. When you talk about this afternoon session, BYU came in at the top, West Virginia second, Iowa State third, but they are the ones with the lead. One rotation down, 3 to go here outside of Salt Lake City.
And welcome back to the Maverick Center. I'm Lauren Sisler. We're here in West Valley, Utah. One rotation down, 3 to go here in session 1. And one gymnast we're going to be highlighting from West Virginia today is Sophia Rice. And What a career she's had, and her journey here was not a conventional one, y'all. From Morgantown, she trained at G-Force in West Virginia, and when her coach left for another gym, she decided to stick it out. And, well, she was the only level 10 at the gym. She was often left to train on her own, so she put technology to good use, filming every rep on an iPad, went back, watched it, critiqued herself, kept going. She did what she had to do for 2 years before starting her college career. Her adaptability is so impressive. She's relentless, and it has showed up as she's fought her way through the lineups here at West Virginia. We're going to see her coming up on the floor and vault in the second half of this competition, but now we head into rotation 2. BYU on the bars. We're going to see a big routine coming your way from Anna Bramlett Wild. Over on the balance beam, we're going to see the Candy Queen herself, Carly DiCello. Sugar makes her go, and over on the floor exercise. Get ready for some fun, y'all. High energy routines coming your way. Haley Harden and the Iowa State Cyclones. We're back after this.
Welcome back to the Beehive State inside the Maverick Center. Alex Perlman, Kennedy Baker, Lauren Sisler with you for a full day of Big 12 gymnastics here in the afternoon session of the championship. We've done one rotation, and so far it is Iowa State, who is the lowest ranked team coming in. They have the lead by a 10.5 over BYU. Some mistakes on West Virginia really cost them, only able to put up a 48-125, but that 49.05 is what has Iowa State in the lead, and they go to floor. BYU's on bars, and West Virginia on beam. This is really good for Iowa State too, because this is one of their best events coming up. They might even be able to increase their lead after 2 rotations halfway through.
They're doing an impeccable job. I know they want to go lights out on this floor rotation. They're coming off of a season high on beam, building that momentum after struggles just standing on beam. I know they're ready to go blast off on floor. They've got some high flying tumbling. I want to see what they do there. And
now West Virginia has some ground to make up as they move over to beam. They are ranked 40th in the country on this apparatus. They won, according to Jason Butts, the 14th year head coach in Morgantown. Keep it simple. They want practice and competition to look the exact same. And I feel like when we talk with coaches around the country, whether it's Big 12, SEC, ACC, what have you, that is the big message, I think, for a lot of these coaches, right? We know you can do these skills. You're great at it in practice. Bring it to the competition floor.
Yeah, but that's difficult, Alex. The pressure's on the competition floor. It feels different. The events are higher up on that podium than they do in practice. It's a different mental training.
And I think it's also very different when you're looking up. Look at the left side of your screen right now. You're looking up and your conference logo is all over the place. It's not like a home dual meet. This has a very different feeling to it.
You cannot change the intensity of championship competitions, and it's really hard to replicate it. It's just so much more on the line. You feel it when you're competing. You're competing for more than yourself. You're competing for your team and your school. High stakes.
Anna Lee on beam at a 9.75 last week as she finishes off the first routine. A little hop forward.
Nice job starting it off, though. That's what they want. You want to hit out first, a really clean hit. Anna did a great job there of staying consistent throughout that routine, getting the momentum going for the rest of the beam lineup.
All right, here is Iowa State. Aubrey Guinea will lead off, followed by Ella Schell, Rachel Wilk, Noelle Adams, Haley Harden, and Josie Bergstrom to slaw their lone all-arounder in the anchor spot. You do not want to miss the bottom of that lineup. It is really electric, including Adams, Harden, and then Bergstrom to slaw.
You'll see her start with that layout, step out. She does front forward passes, but gymnasts have to show that directional change, throwing that layout step out there just to show some backwards movement. She starts with a big front double twist. Nice job there, just a little bit chest back when she took off. I saw her struggle with that a little bit in the warm-up. You've got to have your chest right up and down. If it's leaned back when you take off, you're going to come in a little bit short, what you saw right there.
Maya Kirkham on bars had a 9.8 to lead off BYU, and now Here is Addie Glazier following that up. BYU in the country 35th on bars with a 49.025 NQS this year. Had a 48.95 there last meet.
Addie's doing a great job right now. She's had some difficulties on this routine a couple times in the season. Slight shuffle back on that double layout, a little bit close to that bar.
So that leads off Iowa State on floor with Ella Shell to follow. West Virginia on beam had a 9.725 from Anna Lee as Amber Lowe gets ready.
Amber is incredibly level-headed. Having a great season actually in the sophomore year.
The 12 of her last 25 routines now have gone 9.8 or better.
Opens with a back handspring layout, step out her acro series. You're gonna see these throughout the competition, a requirement for everyone. Beautifully done. Great stick up there. She looks so confident and poised. Her teammates trusting her in the back.
Balance check, but held on.
And that's that level-headedness that Jason Butts was talking about. She's just so calm and collected. Even when things are slightly off, she knows to stay in the position, hold it down, trust it, so she can stay on top and get those sticks as well. Another blind landing here, 1.5 twist. Hop forward, nice job on top of the beam, especially for West Virginia though. They want to get these sticks on top and off of the beam. This was beautifully done. Great leg form throughout, legs totally extended, feet pointed all the way. And she just overcooked this a little bit, had so much height out of it, tried to spot.
All right, so Ella Shell gets ready to compete for Iowa State. More on that. Let's go back down to Lauren.
Hey, so some of these floor routines that you're going to see from Iowa State are pretty impressive. High energy, a lot of fun, and you know, it comes from one of the best on floor, the 2004 national floor champion, Coach Ashley Miles Grieg, and she decided she wanted to choreograph a few of these routines this season. You saw Aubrey's routine there off the top here, Ella and Haley Harding coming up later on, but she just loves bringing out the personality and the creativity with the music, with the moves, and it's something she's enjoyed being back in. And look at her go there. You can see her just popping every single move, and she's so into it and has really enjoyed that role this season on floor.
I absolutely love not only when the teammates but the coaches are doing the routines along with their athletes. And I mean, doesn't get much better on floor than Ashley Miles Grieg. When she was competing for Alabama, you mentioned a national champion, 11 career perfect 10s, and in her first ever coaching position on any level, has really rebuilt this Iowa State team in not very much time. It's only her second year.
It's nice to see what she's done only in her second season. They can't have better experience or leadership than head coach Ashley. She just brings so much experience that you really can't find in a lot of other head coaches. She wraps up with this run off 1.5 front layout. Really clean there from her. I like how she didn't dance too quickly. She showed that she had that landing and then went into the choreo.
Well done, and high fives from Ashley. West Virginia on beam, a pair of 9.725s, and BYU starting off with a bang. 9.8 from Kirkham, and then Glazier's score just changed. 9.775 is what it goes down as we wait on Elila Alvarado. Julia Brown now getting words of wisdom.
Julia's routine is difficult. You're going to see her open with a triple series. That's 3 acro elements in a row. Third one, no hands. Perfect.
And back to bars we go, right side of your screen with Kylie Iquinto. So Alvarado was able to perform in a 9.65. That score hoping to be dropped at the moment now by BYU. Remember, they were down by 1/10.5 coming into this second rotation.
Kylie, Alila putting in good work over. Excuse me, that was Kylie Iquinto. I knew I was right the first time.
Trust your gut there, Ken. I know there's so much going around. Like, it really is. I think it's hectic for everybody, though. You know, when you're in this type of meet, and everybody kind of has to keep their head on what they're trying to accomplish, right? Is that difficult for a team when you have so many gymnastics going on at the same time?
Yes, and this is great practice for the regionals, especially because you want your team close. There are a lot of outside factors going on, and when you start to go into those outside factors and give into it, that's when you lose that focus and momentum that you have building. You're going to see these teams stay close, stay in these bubbles to stay locked in.
Scores are starting to build now for Iowa State. 9.725 for Guinea, and Shell with a 9.825. As they go over that magic 9.8 mark. If everybody got a 9.8, that would be a 196. Be a solid score for all 3 of these teams. They're looking for a little bit better. I don't think they would be disappointed in that kind of meet.
And had those feet just too far in front of her, a little low as well, going into that front full, didn't get that momentum out of the first skill to get the pop for the second, and unfortunately that's going to be 5/10 in deduction.
So that will be the score that now Iowa State wants to drop if they want to stay in the lead. Julia Brown's score for West Virginia just flashed a 9.85.
And luckily, Iowa State has a really strong back half of the lineup. You'll see Haley and Noelle and Josie sitting there ready to go, high flying, ready to pick up for that fall we just saw from Rachel. Closes with a double pike. This is a hard pass to finish with. Nice job, gave it a little more gas, wanted to get it to her feet, different from her first pass. Nice job to close, and we mentioned it earlier, it's just as important to finish like you didn't fall, because you might unfortunately have to count that score. You don't want to, but you might have to. And you'll see she just didn't get that pop, really didn't have any rise on the second skill on those connection passes. You want to see the second one higher than the first skill. Put a lot of energy behind that. Good effort to stay in those bounds as well.
Here's West Virginia ready to go on beam. Carly Nelson following up that 9.85 from Julia Brown as assistant coach Jessica Yamzon looks on. Former competitor at Arkansas. Really good, really steady, especially on beam.
Nice job on that handspring layout step out. Slightly loose in the knees, especially on this elevated podium. The judges can really see when those legs aren't all the way locked out. It stands out, the lights are brighter, putting more emphasis. A little low in that switch side as well. Those judges want to see those straddle positions and splitting positions with their legs completely even and above 180 degrees. Dismount, gainer full.
Nice.
Drilled that dismount though. Really great way to close out that routine. Just a little bit of leg form throughout. Nice job staying on top of the beam. Should be a decent score for them.
And so BYU is putting together a very good bars rotation as well with that 9.825 from Iquinto, waiting on Bramblett Wild's score to come in as well as the plunger hat makes its first appearance, and well deserved. We were waiting to see one of the most unique stick crowns in all of college gymnastics. I'm gonna extrapolate that in all the world.
That's definitely the most unique I've ever seen. I love it. It's good for the team. Great motivation. Get those sticks. Just a little bit extra oomph and razzle-dazzle behind that.
I have a feeling we might be hearing more about the plunger hat.
Would you wear the plunger hat?
As the day comes. Oh, absolutely, no question. Bring it over here. I'll throw it right on.
I'm not putting it on.
I have absolutely. Well, you got to protect the hair. I get it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Back to bars, Ava Jorgensen. The first time that she has competed on this event since February 28th, or any event. She's been really dealing with an illness. Head coach Gard Young wasn't sure if she'd be able to even be back in the lineup today, but that's a nice boost at the bottom of the bars rotation. Wow, Bramblett Wild with a 9.925 before her.
That's great. They're really building these scores throughout. Grabbing with this double layout here. Tried to find that landing, had a little shuffle forwards and backwards. Great leg form, though, throughout.
Here's Noelle. 8-9 is the score from Rachel Wilkes, so that 8.9 trying to go away, of course. But they have the final three in this rotation to do just that.
And Noelle is so fun to watch on floor, backing it up with high flying skills. Like right here, her lead combination is so high in the air. I love to see that. The judges do as well. It's nice to see Noelle bouncing back from that difficult beam rotation. She can really put up a big score here. And Noelle goes forwards, fulfilled that requirement, back handspring layout, step out similar to Aubrey, showed that backwards movement, front 1.5 twist here. Great work there. Fantastic job to close out that routine.
She puts her own stick crown on after that one.
Not everyone can have a plunger hat.
No, that's for sure. Well, Noelle Adams still with a 100% hit rate on floor. And now, I don't know what her score is, but coming in 9 of her 27 career floor routines have gone 9.9 or higher. That is really, really solid. And we might be even getting number 10 here. So West Virginia, what you're looking for on the right side of your screen, here's Carly DiCello, the younger sister of one of the better competitors really in the entire country, Kayla, for Florida, who is taking her year off and trying to get better after that bad injury before the U.S. trials. And West Virginia needing to average 49.15 on the remaining events to hit that magical 195.575. That's what they need to try to pass Boise State and get out of that play-in. Or I'm sorry, to clinch regionals, that is.
That was terrific. A stunning routine from Carly. That is a hard routine to do. She did a triple series and then 2 switch leaps in a row. The amplitude and rise that Carly can get off the beam, as well as being confident enough to stick all of those skills, including the dismount, might be the biggest score we've seen today so far. One of the best routines I've seen.
A unanimous selection to the Big 12 all-freshman team. She is going to be in the running for sure for Big 12 Freshman of the Year. Along with her, Haley Harden. She was also a unanimous selection. 4-time newcomer of the week in the Big 12 Conference. And you are about to see why. A 9.9 for her on floor last week.
One of the most powerful gymnasts we will see today. Watch for this opening pass. She opens with a huge double layout. Head coach Ashley Miles-Greig has actually edited this routine a lot. They changed from 3 passes to 2 passes. She felt like she wasn't being rewarded for doing that 3rd pass. So much hype, but that's where the podium comes in. It's bouncier up there. You've got to absorb a little bit longer, especially on those E-level tumbling passes like you saw right there from Haley.
And not a lot of experience on podium, too, for a freshman. Following up Noelle Adams, good score, 9.85.
Beautiful work there on her leaps. I love how clearly you could see her feet all the way around. And it's difficult to change your routine, especially at the end of season. We have to speak to that because you do something all season long. To do something differently is a challenge. Doesn't seem hard though for Haley right there on her last pass, super floaty.
I would like to see a world though where Haley Harden doesn't have to change to a 2-pass routine because she's not getting rewarded for it. She should be rewarded for doing a 3-pass routine, don't you think?
Absolutely, Alex. It's unfair when you do all these hard skills to not see it in the score. This was beautiful, so high in the air. You saw her spot Ashley out of that pass. But yeah, why would you do a more difficult routine if you're not going to see that reflected in your score?
It makes sense, but I think everyone wants to see more difficult routines. And I think the gymnasts want to perform more difficult routines.
They do. They like to show off. I think it makes it more specific as well. The harder level of gymnastics you're doing, the less amount of people that are doing that. So you want to show that off, especially in college. This
has been a very consistent beam rotation right now for West Virginia. Looking for a big score here from Webster. They're dropping Lee's 9.725 at the moment. Remember, they are trying to go over that 49 mark, trying to stay in the game to clinch regionals.
Curious actually to see what the judges do with her acro series. It's very hard. She does a side aerial right to a granny, but I noticed there was a little bit of a leg swing delay. It looked like it stopped a little bit. Curious to know if the judges think that was continuous or not. Great fight on that dismount. Really held on to it.
Very solid. Back to Lauren.
Yeah, we're about to see Josie Bergstrom-Tesla coming up here on the floor, the final routine for Iowa State. They put up some great scores so far and really excited to see this routine. You know, this is a girl that is so mature, comfortable speaking her mind. And, you know, she did get married this summer, so she's off the market, guys. Sorry. But she's really stepped up in that leadership role. Solid, clean routines. And, you know, floor was not supposed to be in her repertoire, Coach Ashley Miles-Greig said, but she's found a way, and here she is.
And neither was bars, and she has added both. Let's see how Josie finishes this off with back-to-back 9.85s from Adams and Harden for Iowa State.
She opens with a big front 1.5 twist. Nice job. Tried to cover that jump out. Looks like she was a little bit off in it. We'll see what the judges decide to do with that. Nice effort, though, and that's the kind of competitor and teammate that Josie is. Wrapping up with their last pass here, the same pass we just saw Haley Harden do. Nice job. Looked actually a little bit soft in her knees. Great job popping off the floor, making that unnoticeable. Good close for Iowa State. That was a great bounce back for them. They can drop Rachel Wilkes' score and keep building the momentum going into the next power event, which is vault.
And Iowa State had the lead after one rotation. We'll see if they're able to hold on to it after a strong bars rotation from BYU at that 49.025. This is just the start of the postseason, though. It's all here on ESPNU, Monday at noon Eastern. We will find out where all 36 teams are going, and then the regionals in a couple of weeks. National semifinals, once again on ESPN2 on April 17th, and then we follow it up on ABC April 19th, 2 days later with the national championship. LSU will, you would think, with the season that they've had, try to repeat and defend that crown. But there are some other teams that are really hot on their heels. One of them we're going to see later tonight, Utah.
This is a very competitive year in NCAA gymnastics. It's not really anybody's. It's really open for the taking. We'll see what teams step up to get that championship later this year.
We will preview the evening session of the Big 12 championships when we return just outside of Salt Lake City, Utah. You do not want to miss it with the Utah Red Rocks, Denver Pioneers, Arizona Wildcats, and the Arizona State Sun Devils. All coming up a little bit later at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPNU. We will get you set for it when we return. Going to be exciting. We are halfway home right now through the afternoon session. But coming up later today, we talked about it, the number 4 team in the country, Utah, in their first year in the Big 12, looking for a conference regular season as well as postseason title, though that's coming up in a little bit. Alex and Kennedy back with you. And I think that is definitely going to be the storyline, right? Utah here outside of Salt Lake City, pretty much a home venue for them in a lot of ways. They're the team to beat, but we could very well see an upset from Denver, Arizona, or Arizona State.
Yeah, we have an exciting big competition tonight. Utah obviously ranked number 1 in the Big 12 coming into tonight's competition, but I could absolutely see an upset from the other 3 teams. They've got strong gymnastics. They've built it up, settling into the second half of the season. Can't wait to see what they do there.
And Denver is absolutely a team that could put it all together. We've been waiting for them. There's so much talent, incredible skill level, but we just haven't seen it yet this year. So we will see. Maybe this is going to be the year that they are able to get past Utah and win a conference championship. I don't know. Lauren, I know that you have a very special guest. Oh, you're not even showing it yet. There's a little preview. There it comes. The plunger hat is in your possession, and that's a scary thought.
The plunger hat, my friends. I know you want to see me put it on, so I'm going to go ahead and put the plunger hat on.
Oh, that looks good.
Am I rocking it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're rocking it.
The performance props come out, and I got to tell you, West Virginia has one of the more unique performance props, and it's the stick hat, it's the plunger hat, and the honorary keeper of the plunger hat, who makes sure it's all glittered up, glammed up, is Miss Julia Brown. She's standing by right here. Julia, like the concept of this hat, how did this all come about?
So we were kind of just looking for a stick crown, and we wanted to be different. We were on Amazon scrolling, and we were like, oh, there's a plunger, and it's a hat. And then we were like, well, yeah, you plunge the landing. So I don't know, just creative. And then I was like, we need to put a V on it. It could be blingy.
And it's stuck. The stick hat, the plunger hat. Here we are. They've had some sticks today, looking good out there, West Virginia, as we head into rotation number 3. And let's see how the rest of this one goes.
Yeah, it works for the Mountaineers, and it works for you too, Lauren. Well, coming up, Iowa State's going to go to vault with Josie Bergstrom-Tesla. She continues her all-around evening and afternoon 2025 Big 12 all-freshman team. BYU on beam will have Brinley Anderson. You don't want to miss out on her routine. She is a dark horse for potential Big 12 Specialist of the Year. And then on floor, Anna Lee possibly competing in her final events. In rotation to the third rotation, we go halfway home inside the Maverick Center. First session of 2 of the Big 12 Gymnastics Championships. Iowa State's going to be on the vault, BYU on beam, and it's going to be floor coming up for West Virginia. Iowa State still has the lead, and they grew it in that second rotation. This has been a really good meet for Ashley Miles-Krieg on the right, the head coach. It's Ryan Snyder on the left, who has done such great work here with this team in a short amount of time. And Paige Willis gets ready to start off the Cyclones. These teams are really tightly grouped from 33, 34, and 37 in the country. But I don't think there's any question. I mean, with the one team that's going to miss the NCAA regionals, this would be a bit of an upset and really a great way for Iowa State to finish off this year.
Great job there from Paige to get this vault rotation going for Iowa State. Small hop back. They only have one 10.0 start value vault, so especially on these 995 vaults, they want to find the landing.
BYU has Sophie Dudley to lead off. Competing in her second event of 3. We'll see her on floor coming up next. The quiet leader. And that's exactly what Guard Young was for Team USA. Competed for the U.S. from 2000 to 2004, both Olympics as well, and won a team silver in Athens. So he knows what it's like to be in that role.
And Sophie Dudley nailed that dismount, dug those heels in. Excited about that, calm, cool, and collected. They picked her for a reason to be their starter. She gets it going, gets that ball rolling on that event for them.
And in second place by a little more than 2/10. This is the time that the Cougars do need to start stepping it up just a little bit. West Virginia now to floor. 31st in the country. This is their best event. Brooke Albin leads off. Trying to work on the fine details with her this season. Now, as a senior, she's at times struggled with consistency throughout her career. Nothing inconsistent there.
Beautifully done. Great job to open up that routine. You'll see she does 3 passes, shows off that endurance throughout. A lot of these athletes either do 2-pass or 3-pass routines. We spoke about it with head coach Ashley Miles-Grieg about what the difference was, giving away tenths, maybe doing 3 passes. More impressive and more scoring potential though, maybe there. And another solid pass. Nice amplitude on those leaps, especially on 2-pass routines. You want to see the leaps rise, get the height and the splits and the correct feet form all the way around. Setting up for her last pass here, double tuck. Same as her first pass in the tuck position though. Great effort to hold it into the lunge. Small scoop back with that front foot, but really clean routine.
I mean, that's what you're asking for out of a leadoff right there.
She did exactly her job, got it started for them, opened with a super solid hit. Great energy to build off of.
And speaking of, how about Sophie Dudley for BYU on beam? 9.875 to start them off in that third rotation. Here's Fred, 9.825, 9.75 for Iowa State so far.
A lot of height on that Yurchenko full. You'll see a little bit bigger hop back. I like the distance that she got away from the table, but you've got to hold into those landings to give away less tenths.
Our first look today at Eliza Millar-Crossman, a walk-on who has done such a great job, according to Guard Young, on beam and floor, was kind of in and out of lineups in her previous 2 seasons, but has now really been able to hone in on that consistency.
Great save on her back handspring layout step out there. Nice job holding it down, showing that seniority to wait, not to rush, because if you rush too much, especially on beam, that's when you start to get those falls.
And if it's not hard enough to be a gymnast in the Big 12, well, she's also going to pursue a nursing degree after graduating and is a neuroscience major.
Pretty smart, I'd say.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
No big deal.
Yeah, casual. Wrapping with a front full. Again, cannot see her feet coming into the ground. Great effort there. I love how you see those heels really digging in.
I mean, she planted that.
She did, and almost was a little short. You saw that fight at the end, and that's her showing off that veteran leadership right there, knowing to wait. We spoke about it. We've spoken about it a lot. Waiting on the podium, holding things longer to solidify those sticks.
Yeah, there is the experience that you have seen. All right. Well, Scarbosa with a 9.625. Now, that's the score that Iowa State is going to want to drop here to remain in the lead after 3 rotations. This is Noelle Adams on the right.
She can stick this. Hop, clean air form, but just too much power. She's such a dynamic gymnast. Very quick twitch, can get off the equipment incredibly fast, but you've got to find your feet coming down into the ground.
Talked about that good leadoff score for West Virginia. Brooke Albans came in 9.825. You can see all the scores popping up as they come in from the judges on the right side of your screen on the scoring tower.
Another front pass for Sophia. Clean landing out of that. I really like this leap that she does next coming up. She ends on the floor. It's called a Shushanova out of it. Really nice height. I like how she shows it off. Sometimes you see people rush that, just go straight down to the ground. Great routine. Clean, minimal deductions throughout, building off of Brooke's score. Great job getting this lineup going for West Virginia. I know this is the energy that they wanted.
Lauren has more on the next competitor for BYU, Chloe Hoke.
Now he is a former Pittsburgh Steeler, Chris Hoke, and he's watching on his daughter competes, and a challenging year for this family as they lost their mother, Jamie, to cancer the first meet of the season, and it was really tough for her, challenging as she was flying back and forth to Pittsburgh, going home, visiting with her mother as she was ill, and just wanted to be with her team, but also wanted to be with her mom, and the team really just rallied and supported her through that process. And I looked at her Instagram, and just a beautiful tribute to her mom. She said her mom was a light to everyone she came across. All she ever wanted from the time she was a little girl was to be just like her. She shaped her into the person that she is today. She said she's strong, faithful, loving, considerate, a peacemaker, and so fun to be around. She was an angel and will continue to be an angel in the shape of my mom.
Thanks, Lauren. Beautiful story. Competing for a lot more, especially here outside of Salt Lake City at the Big 12 Championships. Great support as well. Chris Hoke being a former Pittsburgh Steeler as well as a BYU football player, won a couple of Super Bowls with the Steelers. He's representing too. He's got a Steel City hoodie on.
Chloe is so wonderful. It's so nice to watch her every single time. And then to see her, especially this season, with all of the adversity that she's faced, come back, do this for her team, do this for more than just her team. It's beautiful to see.
Her team really rallied around her as well. I mean, head coach Gard Young was telling us this week that it was a real coming together moment. And one that, you know, they have grown a lot from, and you can see they're starting to hit on all cylinders. They have already clinched a spot at NCAA regionals. All right, West Virginia follows up Sophia Rice's big 9-9 score. I haven't seen many of those yet today. Amber Lowe for the Mountaineers.
A lot of rise on that first pass. You're gonna see her get a lot of height in the air on all of her skills. Also takes that difficulty on of adding in the third pass, showing off that strength. Graceful middle combination right there. I like how you saw her second skill rise even higher.
Remember, West Virginia needs a 195.575 to clinch a spot in NCAA regionals, and you know, it really didn't start off so well for them with a 48.125. They put themselves in an early hole, but this floor rotation is doing a lot for them right now.
Great effort there to hold into that landing. Yeah, this is an event that they can go full blast on, get those scores, pick that back up, and hopefully solidify their spot at the regional competition. The height she got on this was excellent, especially at the end of the routine. They're doing a good job getting those scores building, getting those passes, settling into this competition.
Here's Mina Margraf Benson. Chloe Hoke's score was a 9.775 at the moment. That is the lowest, with just the freshman Deb Silva about to make her career beam debut coming up next, and Brynlee Anderson to follow.
This is difficult to connect. That's her acro series. She's either gonna have to change it or repeat it. But that's her acro series is more difficult because you're not gonna see her put any hands down.
Well, that's a big deduction if you don't try to repeat it here.
Correct.
Because you're not at a 10-0 start value at that point.
And I think right here is where she's about to try it again. That arm swing needs to be continuous.
Oh no!
Oh, missed it again.
No. So this is the score that they're going to have to drop, and regardless. There she tries again.
And wow, I mean,
held on
3 times doing the same skill. That's hard.
But it's not like you can just go back and it's just the same as if you nailed it the first time.
Yeah.
You're going to get deductions for that.
And that's the unfortunate part. And I mean, hopefully they definitely don't want to count this routine, but you've got to do all of it. You've got to get as many tenths as you can because you never know. But to go and repeat skills, there's endurance on beam as well as floor. It's difficult. You know, you have 4 or 5 skills that you compete on beam. So when you add in a 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, it's hard. I was impressed that she nailed the final one.
She did.
Unfortunate she couldn't get it the first time.
Way back on her heels there. So that will certainly be the score that BYU is looking to drop. Chloe Hoke's 9.775 will count, with Silva and Anderson still to come. 9.75 the score for Amber Lowe, which means that they are going to try to drop that one. And Riley Emerson and Anna to finish off West Virginia's floor rotation. Iowa State is finished on vault, just a 48.8. They had one score that went above 9.8. That was Paige Wills in the leadoff. Haley Harton, just a 9.75, was the only 10-0 start value for them in the lineup.
Riley is a fantastic floor worker. Puts a lot of attention to detail in her form. You're gonna see this leg extension right there on her leaps. Beautiful to see. She's had some struggles on this last pass though. Want to see her get that pop out of this Rudy into the next jump. Great job right there.
That was just what the Mountaineers needed.
Well done there from Riley. Exactly what the Mountaineers needed. Clean routine, nice form throughout.
Half of the routines for West Virginia come from freshmen. I mean, this is a very young, inexperienced team that is competing in the Big 12 championship. A lot of them for the first time ever. And so they are trying to, handle that pressure, be on podium, digest this type of environment all at once. And I mean, besides that first rotation, really job well done.
And this is great experience for those freshmen and sophomore, the underclassmen, getting out on the podium, preparing even for the next season, but definitely for the regional competition as well.
So not much of a surprise here with all the misconnections from Mina before. There is a conference going on with the judges right now, almost definitely about start value and what they're going to do with the attempts at connections, and then she finally did. So here's, why we have judge conferences. It's because the ranges are a little bit out of whack, and between 9, 8, and 10, which is not where the final average score would really be on this, but you're looking at probably a 2/10 or 3/10 range on this kind of routine. And you have 4 judges this time and not 2. Remember, 4 judges in the postseason until you get to nationals where it's 6, and then the high score, the low score, both thrown out. You average the middle 2 together, and that is the score that each gymnast gets.
Couple things to unpack here. I'm watching I'm watching Deb Silva get ready. I think they have an advantage over Iowa State, what we saw earlier, in that we knew there was probably going to be a judging conference. I'm watching Deb get ready, talking with her teammates, shaking it out a little different, being prepared, but also she's never been in the beam lineup.
And definitely not on podium, and definitely not at the Big 12 championships either.
Tough position to be in.
And so we are getting ready for Deb Silva as the judge conference goes on. We are also very much anticipating the second session, the evening session of the Big 12 Gymnastics Championship. Utah, Denver, Arizona, Arizona State, 7 Eastern over on ESPNU. Kennedy, Lauren, and I will be back with you as our hardworking crew continues the coverage of this year's Big 12 Championship as we crown a title winner. Emerson Smith now talk about this young team, another freshman for the Mountaineers.
Their first E-level tumbling pass. It's a difficult full twisting double tuck she just did.
The conference does seem to be over as all 4 judges walk back to their chairs. So we should have a score officially coming in for Mina Margraf Benson in a moment or 2.
Wrapping up here, last pass, the same pass we just saw Riley do without the split jump out of it. Wants to find her feet together, straight to the lunge. Good effort. You saw her feet actually fight, especially that front foot lifted those big toe. Great way to put it back down. I say her pinky toe stayed down though.
See what the judges do with it. Emerson Smith, member of the All Big 12 freshman team. Back to the first pass.
This was really big. It's also hard. You're going to see a lot of these athletes do a round-off back handspring. They have an extra skill in front of that, gives them more momentum going into it. She's powerful enough. She can just do it straight out of the round-off. And nice effort there. I was impressed with that last pass, keeping it in the lunge, keeping that foot down.
So the score changed for Margraf Benson. It went from 9.325 to 9.625, which, if something happens with Silva and Anderson, could be absolutely critical. I mean, this is why, even though after 2 attempts you don't nail that, you have to go back to your acro series and finish it because you need that start value. Here's Silva, her career beam routine, first career beam routine right here.
You'll see a little shake she had coming out of that front aerial. We'll see what the judges decide to do with that. She did a nice job of putting effort in to keep it continuous. I don't know if they're going to give it to her, though.
If you're not sure, do you repeat it or do you just hope? It's probably a tough position to be in, isn't it?
For Deb, she's not going to repeat it. If it's obvious, they're probably going to go back and repeat it. I feel like that was too minor. And also, if you go back and repeat it, you're exposing yourself, right?
You're basically saying,
yeah, you're saying,
hey,
I didn't do that right.
I didn't do it, yeah. That's a good point.
Great stick to close it out for Deb. Her job ultimately, though, was to stay on top of the beam. She had a lot of things stacked against her, had to wait for about 5 minutes before she got up there after never competing beam in this lineup before. Well done.
Lauren Annalee about to anchor West Virginia on floor.
Yeah, and let me tell you, this girl has been through it. She injured her ankle at the end of freshman year, tore her ACL in her sophomore season, and really this is the first time she's been able to come out and contribute consistently. And, you know, the coaching staff said, yes, they got to watch her reps and try to keep those maintained, but holding her back is really hard because she gives it 150%. She goes all in, and she's giving it all she's got as she closes out because she does have one more year of eligibility, but the coaching staff said they don't know if she's going to hold up for that, but they're having fun watching her as she gets out here and performs.
Yeah, head coach Jason Butt said that Anna told him this week that she feels great, just wants to see her finish strong.
Awesome first pass, so clean. That front double twist is really tricky coming out. Not only can you not see your feet coming to the ground, but you're coming from twisting.
To compete these types of gymnastics with that brace on your knee is absolutely incredible.
I think it makes it more challenging. It's protecting, but I think when you're doing gymnastics, it does. You've got to straighten your leg a little harder, bend it harder, because it is protecting your joints.
It's more weight, too.
Yep. Good job pushing through there.
Nice.
Fantastic routine from Anna, super clean. I love that last pass. The layout step out was huge, nice height out of it. Great job spotting her teammate coming out of it. I love how excited her teammate is. That makes a difference when you're competing. When you see them hyped, it's easier for you to get hyped.
All right, trying to get back over that 9-8 mark to finish off floor for West Virginia and Annalee. All right, Brindley Anderson now. Anderson could potentially be the winner of the Big 12 Specialist of the Year, which will be announced later. But Anderson is just nails on beam.
This is an event she really excels at. She's aggressive and sharp to her landings.
Guard Young expects that she'll have a chance to potentially compete at nationals as an individual on beam. That's how good she is.
Difficult connection there, cat leap to side aerial. I love how clean that was. No question of whether the connection was smooth or not. Wrapping up with her dismount, gainer full off the side. Perfect stick. Nice way to close it out for BYU.
Yeah, Mina's 9.65 is going to be dropped. And this is a good beam rotation. Good score.
Excellent stick right there. So clean throughout, legs glued together.
Annalee's score comes in for West Virginia on floor with a 49-1. That is a real job well done right there. And Lauren standing by with Mountaineers head coach Jason Butts.
Hey, Jason, obviously coming out three events down, and bars might not be exactly what you had hoped for, but you got a smile on your face watching these girls out here performing on the floor, putting it away.
Yeah, I mean, they're out here having fun. You know, we regrouped after bars, and I said, guys, all we can control is what we can do on the next 3 events. And they came back, and they did a great job on beam. On floor, they were having fun. So now we just got to go to vault and do the same thing.
Thanks so much, Coach.
You're very welcome.
All right, so one last rotation to come to decide who takes the afternoon session of the Big 12 Gymnastics Championships. Is it Iowa State, West Virginia, or BYU? We will close it out in just a little bit, come back and break down the first 3 rotations when we return to the Beehive State.
Be one for the ages.
This one is going to be a nail-biter, no doubt about it.
She just does it so effortlessly.
Nailing that landing.
They've been dreaming of this moment since they were little.
Basketball has March Madness. Women's gymnastics has April Anarchy.
Well, we're about to find out which 36 teams are going to make regionals. That is on Monday, noon Eastern on ESPNU. First time that we have had the tournament selection show. That is going to be a lot of fun. And then regionals the next week, national semifinals and national championship to follow as we crown a winner. Postseason continues tonight, right here inside the Maverick Center with the Big 12 Gymnastics Championship evening session. Utah, Denver, Arizona, Arizona State. Kennedy, what's the biggest thing you're looking forward to here tonight on ESPNU?
I'm looking forward to seeing the grit from these teams. We have hard-working teams, and this is their first championship meet of the year. I know that teams step up when it's time for championships, and I want to see what team it's going to be.
It is going to be really exciting, but we still have one last rotation to see who is going to come out of the afternoon session as the champion. West Virginia closes on vault with Sophia Rice coming off of a 9.975. Massive score. Iowa State on bars trying to make up some ground with Fred Scarbosa, a member of the Big 12 all-freshman team out of Quebec. And then floor for BYU as they try to win it with Kylie Equinto. Looking forward to seeing her towards the end of the lineup. Closing out the first session of the Big 12 Gymnastics Championships in Utah. Alex Perlman, Kennedy Baker, Lauren Sisler back with you. West Virginia closes on vault. Iowa State to bars. BYU will finish on floor, where it is one of their best events. So you would say with the Cougars having a lead right now, that they are in the driver's seat to finish first in the afternoon. Of course, the winner is going to be the best score out of all the teams competing. So they're going to have to contend with a Utah team that just came off a 198-1. Of course, that's going to be very difficult. Denver will have something to say about it, as well as Arizona and Arizona State later on today. All right, Mountaineers will get going. The Brooke Albin starts it off. Taylor Toohey, Emerson Smith, Carly Nelson, Carly DiCello, and Sophia Rice, the lineup.
Great power off of the table. I love the distance. She's really far back on that mat. Just a small hop back on especially those 995 vaults. You have to drill it if you want to be in competition with Utah and with people that start from 10.0s throughout the entire lineup.
All 995 start values for West Virginia except for Sophia Rice in the anchor spot. That's going to be a really cool way for the Mountaineers to finish off this meet, which has been a really good one so far. Eliza Millard-Crossman now for BYU on floor. This is going to be a make or break event when it comes to a potential session win.
Great way to open for Eliza right there. They put in a lot of work in the gym and their conditioning. They still do weights later in the season. And head coach Gard Young has talked about their floor excellency. They have big choreo backed up with really dynamic tumbling. Clean job on her leaps right there. Cemented those feet down, showing it off. Pose with this front full. Great job. A slight stumble in her legs, fought to get that stick. You could tell she was really going for it. Shouldn't be too big in deduction there, though.
Millar Crossman, the veteran, in the leadoff spot.
This height and pop she gets right here is nice. I love the amplitude that she shows. You can tell that they keep that season conditioning up throughout the entire year.
Guard Young, the two-time Olympian and the silver medalist in 2004. We were talking to him how exciting it was for him to watch what went down this past year. Team USA getting back in the medal stand in the men's side.
And Taylor putting WVU back on track here, nailing that landing. Those are the landings that West Virginia wants to help increase and improve on that score.
Should certainly be better than the 9.675 from Albin to lead off. West Virginia very much in a good spot to make regionals. They need a 49.375 to clinch. Their season high on vault is 49.225, so they'd have to set a new season high. But the only team left that can upset them at this point is UC Davis. Ball State has also been eliminated after today's MAC championship. Lauren Thomas on the right side for Iowa State.
Great routine on top of the bar, came in hot on that dismount, had that step back. Clean form throughout that routine, though. I like the extension she had, especially on her releases.
9.825 for Eliza now. Olivia Matern trying to build on that as BYU had a lead by a little over 2/10. They retook it with a very good beam rotation of 49.15. Iowa State with just a 48.8 themselves on floor.
Wonderful first pass there for Olivia. Solid through to the landing, and another solid landing coming out of that. You're gonna see a lot of 3-pass routines sprinkled throughout this BYU lineup. I love the strength that they show off on this event.
Coaching staff absolutely loves what BYU brings on floor. Guard called it like a Broadway show, their staple event.
They have a high quality performance on this event. You can see it not just in the gymnastics, but in the dance as well.
I want to know what show is it though? Moulin Rouge, or, you know?
Yeah.
Something with good dancing, obviously.
We're gonna have to check in on that. Huge split jump out of that final pass. Had so much height coming out of it. Fought to keep the control in the air. This was huge. I love the rise that she got in this split jump. So much height, she even started twisting in the middle of it. Great work there from Olivia, getting these 3-pass routines going.
Yeah, the whole team happy about that one. Here's Josie finishing off her all-around night. She needs a 9.9 to tie her career high all-around. That's going to be tough to do. Her season high a 9.775, though we will see.
Wow.
Not going to count anybody out.
That handstand was stunning. I love that she held that for a second on top of the bar. Wants to find this dismount. Ooh, pulled in a little bit. You'll see she's really close to that bar. You want to distance away from the bar on those dismounts. The closer you get to hitting your feet.
So far, nothing above 9-7 for Iowa State. As long as BYU continues at this pace, it is going to be the Cougars' meet here in the afternoon session of the Big 12 Gymnastics Championships. Carly Nelson, 9-6-7-5 the score for Emerson Smith just before.
A lot of power out of it. And the podium impacts all
Sophia
events.
Rice still to come.
And the podium impacts all events. Like we've mentioned, that bounciness, especially on vault, for the landings especially. If you're bouncing, if it feels more like a trampoline up there, it's harder to bend those knees. It's more pressure on your Achilles, too.
Sophie Dudley, 9.825, 9.85 for BYU. This has been a great rotation so far for the Cougs. Dudley finishing off her 3 events here on floor at a 9.85 last week.
Good control out of that first pass. Like Olivia, she does 3 passes.
Score of 9-7 just came in for Nelson on vault.
I love seeing her express the dance throughout her routine, really letting loose.
Kaya Boho on the right side of your screen, following up Josie's 9.65.
Good way to close that routine from Sophia. She was so high, she actually let go of her legs and opened up a little bit there at the end. And also a great routine from Kaya there on the bars. Clean form throughout.
Really solid for both of them. And now Carly DiCello on vault for West Virginia, who gets fed candy throughout the entire meet. She's not happy, according to Jason Butts, she doesn't have candy. And the amount of options that he sprung upon us, I'm not up on my candy game because I didn't recognize most of them. Anything with a lot of sugar throughout the meet. All right, well, it's worked.
I'm speechless.
That was fantastic.
Definitely had some candy before that vault. That was the best Yurchenko full we've seen today. So much height, distance, and to wrap it up with that stick. And you know what, on the candy thing, I feel like I've seen Kayla DiCello, her sister, giving the candy away at Florida. So I think it's just a DiCello thing.
It could be. Very well could be.
This was beautiful. Great elbows on the table, so straight. Spotted it coming down. And I love how far back she is on that mat, showing that amplitude and block through her shoulders.
Lauren.
Yeah, guys, on the candy front, the girl knows a way to her heart. Gummy eggs were on the menu this morning. Unicorn Pez and sour watermelon are what got her going today.
Unicorn Pez. Is that a unicorn?
Pez dispenser, yeah, like the Pez dispenser.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if maybe we had like a different flavor or something that we've been introducing here recently. Heidi Schooley-Myers, 9.85s all around for Olivia and Sophie right before her. BYU is doing everything they have needed to take this first session.
And when we're talking about that Broadway-like performance, you can definitely look at Heidi for that. Having so much fun on the floor.
Embracing her inner John Travolta. Carly DiCello scores a 9.75.
that's a little bit of a robbery to me.
Yeah, I think so too.
Such fun dance and choreography. It's fun seeing her teammates in the back dancing alongside with her. Closes with this double tuck, hard pass to end on. Great landing, so she was a little off in that right shoulder. Nice job keeping it in the lunge and staying there.
Excellent routine there for Heidi Schooley-Myers as BYU just continues to eat on floor here this afternoon. Only Kylie Quinto and Brinley Anderson still to come. So there's some really big scores, I would imagine, coming up as well. All right, here's Sophia Rice. 9.975 for her last week.
And their only 10.0 start value vault. That's a difficult vault. It's called a souk. You've got to come on sideways and have really powerful shoulders to get that block. You're really not going to see that often in college gymnastics.
Rice closing out her freshman campaign in the Big 12. This is a team that is in a good spot for regionals right now, but they are not going to get to that 195.575, which they needed to clinch a spot. So they are going to have to wait and see now what UC Davis does tonight. Emma Ricks for Iowa State on bars to close out the Cyclones afternoon.
And she gets huge height on top of the bar and also off. Watch this dismount, double layout. Finds the landing, perfection. Great way to close it out for Iowa State. I love that they ended on that stick.
Hopefully giving them some good momentum going into next year. And, you know, a team that is looking to get back to the postseason. They were there last year. They made regionals, got to the Gainesville first round, beat Clemson. And they had a lot of motivation coming into this year as well. And hopefully some more representative scoring at the same time. Kylie Quinto for BYU.
Kylie and Brinley at the end of this lineup is such a 1-2 punch for BYU. Aggressive tumbling. Beautiful. So high in the air, but so controlled coming out. Kylie is such a fun gymnast to watch because she's powerful, but also her lines, her extension is really good. Watch the leap right here. Difficult switch ring, that's hard to do with the half twist in front. And I love the wolf full as well. Completed with her legs all the way up. When you see those wolves and pike jumps, you want their legs parallel with the floor. Kylie excels at that.
Even if BYU does compete in the first round, they are going to be a tough team to beat.
They are, and when we talked with head coach Gard Young, he said that actually might be an advantage for them. They get to fill the equipment first. They're out there before the other teams. They know what the arena looks like.
Well, and who could forget what happened to them in Fayetteville last year, ending in a tie, and they had to go to the tiebreaker against Boise State in order to advance.
Kylie's form throughout that is exquisite. Double pikes are really hard to keep your feet pointed on. And she does it so well every single time. This should be one of their bigger scored routines. Slight leg separation on that front layout. Again, though, the judges are from the side. They might not see those same deductions that we see.
At this point, once we know Quinto's score, this meet is going to be over. With BYU already on track for an above 196 score. West Virginia finishes with a 194.875 and Iowa State a 195.775. So Iowa State with that 196-1 last week, which was their season high, the first time they had broken 196. They don't quite get there in this meet. But a note on Emmerich, she debuted as a senior this year, so to see her finish off the season for them, I mean, it makes you feel good, and it's a deserving finish. You know, they ended with a really nice hit routine.
It feels full circle for them. I hope they build off of that. They should feel good with their competition. They had a tough competition out here, and they did a good job.
Look, if anyone can produce exciting gymnastics that brings the fans out, that increases the profile of Iowa State, it is Ashley Miles-Green. So only better things to come, I would imagine, for Iowa State. Brynlee Anderson now to close it out. The three-time Big 12 Specialist of the Week.
Great job on that first pass, a little tilted on that straddle jump. The judges want to see those legs completely even, not one higher than the other. I love seeing the support of her teammates in the back. That's important when you're competing. Closes with this 1.5 front layout. Solid close right there.
It's a good meet for BYU. Not too far from home either. Provo just down the road from us here in West Valley City, Utah. So they are going to go back above 196 just like they did last week with the 196.325. Their season high is a 196.775. So no question, a team that could make some noise coming up.
Clean job right there. I like how you saw her legs a little bit straighter than Kylie's coming down to the ground. Great effort there from Brynlee.
It's already official that BYU has won this meet, but the question is, what is the score going to be? Because that's what's important. Because for all three of these teams, unfortunately, you don't win anything for winning the afternoon session. You got to wait and see what happens in the evening. Although it is nice competition-wise to go up against two other schools and say, hey, we beat the two schools that were put in front of us.
And unfortunately, usually in these championship-like environments, when there's two sessions of competition, the first session is scored a little bit tighter.
Right.
You might see those scores expand this afternoon, a little bit more loose and relaxed from the judging panel, which is unfortunate.
Right, it's not, it's what happens. It's not necessarily what it's designed to do.
It's not intentional.
No, but I don't know. I mean, the arena has something to do with it. Like, there are plenty of Utah fans here right now already. There are going to be a massive amount of fans in red tonight. And that, I mean, judges are human. Like, it's no question that is just, it's innate, you know? It's human nature that when you've got fans that are cheering and they want big scores, it's understandable that you could be affected by that. And we shall see. Brynlee Anderson with a 9.8. So actually, that's the score that's going to be dropped. So 196.275 is the score to beat that BYU just set. Iowa State finishes with a 195.775, though they do finish in second over West Virginia, who is actually the number 6 seed, Iowa State the 7th seed. But the Mountaineers closing it out with a 194.875. One session down, but one very important one still to go here at the Maverick Center. And Lauren is with the winning head coach, Guard Young.
Guard Young, you guys come in here and put up an impressive performance, finishing 196.275. What were your greatest takeaways for this competition today?
Yeah, I think just our consistency from the very first vault to the very end of the floor routine. So just really nice consistency from everyone. Anna Bramlett put down an unbelievable bar routine, so we're hoping that score will stay. You know, those scores in the second session tend to escalate. So come on, judges, do your part. Judge good gymnastics, but keep it fair.
And you talked about wanting your girls to come in loose and relaxed and with energy. How did you really lean on your veteran girls to keep that energy going?
You know, we have a great mixture of seniors and freshmen. And so, you know, the seniors bring that leadership, the freshmen bring that excitement, and it's a good mixture right now. But, you know, I mean, Mina did a marathon beam routine today, and then who came in after her? Our true freshman. So she's a veteran, too. So we're proud of Deb for coming in and hitting a good beam set after Mina.
And, of course, that's going to be big heading into the postseason. Now, you guys will have a play-in round. You talked about that with us this week, how there are some advantages to that. What are you looking ahead to there?
Yeah, that first round of the NCAA tournament, we're not scared of it at all. We'll see a great team. You know, the chances are, you know, the risk is you get knocked out of the tournament, right? But the reward is if you make it through, you had a podium day because you go into the next day relaxed. You've been on the equipment once. Those other 3 teams haven't touched it yet.
All right, so you guys get a little time to enjoy this. What's next? Are you going to stick around here in the arena for session 2?
Absolutely. This is a great party, and everyone should come down for it.
All right, thanks so much, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Kennedy, an electric way to start things off here inside the Maverick Center, and it's only going to get more fun tonight.
I cannot wait to see the competition tonight. Already feeling so inspired by today. Tough, different format, different version of this kind of meet. We'll see what happens tonight.
It is going to be exciting, there's no doubt, and you are not going to want to miss it over on ESPNU. 7 p.m. Eastern time for the evening session of this year's Big 12 Gymnastics Championships. Utah, Denver, Arizona, and Arizona State all battling it out for the crown. The number to beat set by BYU this afternoon, 196.275. They are the leader in the clubhouse, but in a lot of ways, Scotty Scheffler is yet to tee off. Looking forward to that in just a few moments. We'll recoup here, get ready, and be right back at it. 7 p.m. Eastern time on ESPNU. So with Lauren Sisler, Kennedy Baker for our fantastic ESPN crew, I'm Alex Perlman saying good night, and we'll talk to you for the evening session.